Describing a feeling of deep affection is notoriously difficult. Because love is abstract, the words we use to explain it often feel hollow, fleeting, or cliché. The emotion itself is formless. You cannot put an emotion on a scale. You cannot measure its dimensions or chart its density. Without that physical evidence, trying to convince someone else that your affection will endure often feels like handing them a handful of air. The Punjabi track Khaab bypasses emotional descriptions and instead builds a specific architectural model of attachment. The lyrics establish the narrator's starting point immediately. They are trapped, walking a solitary path of dreams, Khabanwali raw. They are isolated inside their own head, wandering through an internal fantasy. Escaping that mental isolation drives the tension of the track. By anchoring the abstract dream to the physical world, the narrator establishes a sense of permanence that the dream world lacks. Proving an indivisible emotion requires concrete evidence. The narrator attempts to make the ethereal concept empirical by pointing to the unbreakable laws of physics and nature. The track constructs this evidence using two distinct types of structures. The first is the manufactured bond, where the narrator compares the couple to bound pages in a book, penne nal penne jurde. Look at the mechanical function of this book binding. Pages stitched into a spine are locked in a sequential, inescapable order. One page cannot exist independently of the next without destroying the object itself. It is a state of permanent physical constraint. The song then shifts from paper to architecture, asking the partner to become my home, become my door. The proximity translates into structural necessity. A doorframe is a vital, load-bearing component. By invoking a home and a door, the romance moves past simple desire. It taps into foundational human requirements for shelter and safety from the outside environment. Books and houses share a defining characteristic. They do not grow in the wild. Instead, they are drafted, engineered, and assembled. The lyrics imply that this attachment is a deliberate, intentional construction, rather than a random collision of fate. The narrator is designing an environment where their partner is structurally indispensable to their survival. The lyrics then pivot to a second category, the organic bond. The narrator equates their partner to a flower and themselves to the branch, Phul de me ani. This biological schematic outlines the mechanics of the pairing. The flower provides the aesthetic beauty, but it is fragile. The rigid branch acts as the vital conduit, delivering the continuous flow of nutrients required to keep the blossom alive. The stakes in this biological system are terminal. Sever a page from a book, and you ruin the sequence. Sever a flower from its branch, and the organism dies. The lyric elevates their connection to life-sustaining codependence. This level of codependence explains the narrator's reaction to the outside world. The lyrics introduce external pressures, the people making jokes, jokarde mazak, and those throwing taunts, dane kaste. These onlookers represent a cynical society. They view the narrator's devotion as a naive fantasy, easily broken apart by public opinion and pressure. This is why the narrator relies on the architecture of a house and the rigid bark of a branch. Those physical metaphors act as psychological fortresses, designed to repel the judgment of the crowd. These intensely physical declarations serve two functions. They are a profound expression of devotion, while simultaneously building a heavy, impenetrable defense mechanism against the fear of loss. In its final act, the song drops the theoretical metaphors. The hazy imagery vanishes, replaced by a series of grounded, physical actions. Early on, the narrator passively asked the stars for guidance. Now, they are demanding to build a world together, promising to manually fill their partner's life with tangible happiness. The attachment reaches its final escalation, joining hands before God, Hath Rab Age Judia. The physical grip is elevated into a divine contract. The song moves from a solitary mind wandering a path of dreams to a physically constructed, shared reality. To communicate a profound human emotion, you do not need esoteric vocabulary or complex poetry. You simply need to point to the simple, unbreakable physics of the world around us.